What's up, everybody? Trinity here. Welcome back to the Second Street Marvel. It's New Comic Book Wednesday, and here I am in my local comic book shop, Bases Cards and Comics, right here in Lancaster, California, to bring you all my comic book pull list reviews for the week. Now, if this is new to you, what I typically do is I usually have some timestamps down in the description where you can go through, and if you want to skip ahead, there's a particular book I'm talking about or not talking about, you can skip ahead or not watch, skip the video altogether. Make sure that you do that. But if you are here and you like what you're seeing, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Before I get into my reviews, I do want to show off something that I did get. This is the Nick Spencer's Captain America omnibus right here. This is collecting Captain America Sam Wilson number 1 through 17, Captain America Steve Rogers 1 through 11, as well as Avengers Standoff Welcome to Pleasant Hill, Avengers Standoff Assault on Pleasant Hill Alpha, Avengers Standoff Assault on Pleasant Hill Omega, and Civil War II The Oath, as well as material from Free Comic Book Day 2016 Captain America. In case you guys don't know, this series is really kind of what brought me back into reading comics a handful of years ago. Nick Spencer's Captain America, just with the whole Hell Hydra with Steve Rogers thing, and all that kind of story kind of interested me, so I went through and I actually read a lot of these books. I've got a lot of these things in trade paperback, but the thing about this omnibus is I'm kind of wondering is, where is the rest of the books? There's plenty. I think there's a handful of the Sam Wilson Captain America books, as well as Steve Rogers Captain America books, that aren't in here, that actually go into like Civil War II and Secret Empire. So I'm not sure if they're going to do another omnibus here pretty soon that has all that. And those are all Nick Spencer stories as well. Now, I know there's probably somebody out there that's screeching and ringing about Nick Spencer's Captain America and Captain America being, an agent of Hydra and all that stuff. And look, I get it, but the thing is, I like about these stories is there's things in here that I think are very good and very well done. It's not all the best. I mean, there's plenty of things in here you could read that seem like they're just pulled straight from the headlines of things that were going on around the time these comic books were coming out. But I do think there's just some things in here that I think are very good. Nick Spencer was able to take a lot of the stories and things that were going on in Marvel Comics at the time, and by the end of Secret Empire, kind of take and wrap everything up to what really kind of set the Marvel Comics kind of back to the status quo with a lot of their characters and things like that. So, hey, if you don't like it, I understand the criticisms. If you do like it, let me know down in the comments below. And, even if you don't like it, let me know down in the comments below what you think about it. I had to get this one. It's got that great Alex Ross cover on there. And I'll probably do a video a little bit later talking about this and showing off, what the actual cover looks like under the desk cover and things like that. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Moving into my comic book pull list for the week, starting right off this week, we've got Aftershock is back with one of their one-shocks, this one from Cullen Bunn, A Foulness in the Walls. Just the way it starts off and the way it ends in this book leaves me kind of weirded out and creeped out and still kind of scratching my head about what exactly is going on here. Again, Cullen Bunn just kind of doing his thing. I really do. I thought this book was pretty good. The art in the book from Rodrigo Zayas, an artist I have never really heard of. I think the art was pretty decent. It definitely has that Aftershock look and feel to this book. Definitely good stuff. Just good stuff if you like a good Cullen Bunn horror. Definitely worth checking out. And I like the little one shot, the prestige formats. They got their square bound and they're a little bit bigger, and I kind of like having those little bit bigger books, though they are a little bit harder to fit on the shelves. But let me know down in the comments below if you have read A Foulness in the Walls and what you think about it. Now I will move on to the next one from AWA Upshot, and this is Trojan, issue number 2. They got a couple of different covers right here. Now this series right here is kind of taking place in that whole AWA shared universe that's taking place with the Resistance and the Reborns and things like that. Here in particular, we're talking about what they call legends, in which you had giants, fairies, and all kinds of different things like that in the world, who eventually went out and took shelter against from the humans, who ended up leaving the world because of how destructive the humans were, which is kind of something that is a narrative thread that kind of goes through a lot of the books through the AWA Upshot universe with the Resistance and things like that. And I'll tell you, there's things about this book I really do like. The story from Daniel Kraus in here has been really good, but the art from this artist Lacey has been very good. And this particular shot, like the second page in the book, is kind of something that displays something exactly I would like to see more of in comic books. Like the art itself is actually pretty good, but then if you get into here and look at the art, there's all this art, this stuff going on in the background, and then you even get into things like this, right? I always say backgrounds are so important when it comes to comic books, and you can see even in this one, this right here, what's going on here, has almost nothing to do with the story, but it stands out, and it's just something that fills in a lot of that blank space, and I think helps add depth and a realness to the book of everything going on in here. I think the art in this book is very good. Trojan, definitely a book worth checking out, if even for just the art itself, but the story by Daniel Kraus so far has been very great. But let me know what you think down in the comments below if you have read Trojan and what you think about it. I think it's definitely a recommend if you like the whole AWA Upshot universe, if you like the whole thing with like the fairies and the whole fantasy world kind of stuff. Definitely worth checking out. It feels like they have something a little bit different to offer here than I have read in some of the other stories that I have read with some of the same kind of story elements. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. That brings me to this next book on Boom Studios. This is Grimm, issue number 8. This one being written by Stephanie Phillips, art by Flaviano, colors by Rico Renzi. I have really enjoyed this book. One of the things is like Flaviano's art in here is really good, and I like seeing the art. Flaviano, I think the first time I heard of Flaviano's art was when I was reading Black Widow's No Restraints play that was done by the Soska sisters over on Marvel Comics. Very good stuff. And then getting in to here, you can see just kind of the art and just kind of how it's, I guess, progressed over the past couple of years. And I wouldn't necessarily say like better, like it was bad before. I think just improved a little bit in the quality. Very good stuff here in Grimm. I've liked this story so far through this series where we're kind of following this character in the afterlife and learning a little bit more about her history here in this particular issue. I think this book has been very good. Definitely Stephanie Phillips' best work that she's done in any of the indie stuff that I have read. I don't know. It's been a pretty good story. That's if you ask me. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And I'll talk about this next one here is House of Slaughter. This is issue number 12. Now, this one right here is just kind of expanding out the world of Something is Killing the Children. I don't know that there's anything in these books particularly that you have to read, that's must read. I think this series would probably be good if you want to trade weight and save a few dollars. But if you're keeping up with it like I am, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Is it worth, keeping up with this month to month? Trade weight? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But to me, overall, I think the story has just been adding little things here and there as they have been kind of expanding this Something is Killing the Children franchise. I don't think it's must read, but I think it's been okay. I think it's been okay. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend the monthly pools if you want to save a few dollars, and even if you're just not totally interested in the story. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Now I want to talk about this new series from Image Comics. This right here is The Last Barbarians. This is issue number 1. This one right here. This cover is the Virgin cover done by Brian Haberlin, who is the writer and artist in this particular book. Now this one right here, I'm not really for sure. The art in this book is actually pretty good. I don't really mind the art in this book. Pretty good. The colors in here are pretty good as well. There are things like, there's a lot of times when I see stuff like this in the comic books where they're showing like the motion and stuff, you just kind of see that blank background. It seems to me, it feels very anime style, and I'm not always into that in a lot of the books. And just throughout this whole book, I just kind of, there's things right here like all this just blank background, the white stuff in between the panels. I wish there was a little more in there, especially with the art in this book. I think it's actually pretty good. The story itself, I don't know. You kind of got this girl who's a barbarian. She's down on her luck, and she's looking for a job to, make ends meet, be able to have a place to live and stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's a little bit weird, the story, considering the time that it's in. Really kind of, I mean, but it's, I mean, I guess it's stuff that you deal with, whether it's 500 years ago, the present day, or things like that. But I don't know. I think the story itself, it seemed a little more modern for a story that's supposed to be definitely a lot older. But let me know what you think down in the comments below about the Last Barbarians. I think the art is pretty good in this series so far, and the story, it's okay. It's not bad, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem really like something that I'm into as much. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. We'll talk about this next series from Image Comics, which is Brut, issue number 3. This has a few different covers right here. You've got the Campbell's Soup one. You've got this one right here. Another very good cover. And then, of course, we've got this last cover right here. Definitely has that very Ice Cream Man look to it, because it is from all of the same creators of Ice Cream Man. And that is W. Maxwell Prince, Martin Morazzo, Chris O'Halloran, and good old Neon. You can see all of those names right there. And pretty much what we've got is a lot of these rare art pieces have been, the things have been happening to them, and they kind of called in this expert that's kind of like crazy and eccentric to figure out exactly what's going on, and things seem to be going awry here in this story. This story is definitely something different out of W. Maxwell Prince and the team over who does the Ice Cream Man series. It's not quite like the same horror stuff. It seems a little bit more silly. I think the way I was kind of describing it before is it almost seems like a Wes Anderson kind of comic book. More so than like necessarily like the W. Maxwell Prince. And I think that's just like the difference in what you get out of like the Ice Cream Man as compared to Brut. It's still got that weird feel to it. And I think it's been a pretty good series. I'm kind of interested to see where it's going to go in the next few issues, because I believe this is another one of the mini-series. But I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, if you've been enjoying Brut and what you think about it, kind of the silly, quirky weirdness of W. Maxwell Prince. Just something that he seems to be very good at. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. We'll talk about this next book I've got here on Image Comics. And this one is 3 Keys. This is issue number 5. This is the series finale. This one by David Messina. Now, I will tell you, I've heard some people talk about this comic book. They didn't particularly like some of the things going on in here, and I'll tell you, it's because it's from comic nerds. It's from comic nerds, people like me, probably people like you if you're sitting here watching this video. Some of the things that people didn't like. Well, we've got our main character, Noah here. She's actually... It's a very Lovecraftian inspired, Lovecraft-inspired story. But our main character, she works in this comic shop, and some of the people in there were having some conversations, and it's very much like you see in real life, where you got, like people who think they're better than other people, are too good for whatever, yet they're still where they are. And, like, I guess I understand why some people were kind of put off by some of it, but some of it to me, like, I'm like, I don't know. I think it's part of the story, and I think some of that stuff that was in that part of the story is kind of finished up and tied up in this particular book, and you see some of that. So, I don't know, maybe anybody who was upset at David Messina for some of that stuff, for making fun of us comic geeks, can maybe give him a little bit of leeway here, as we see that I think that kind of thread was tied up pretty good here in this last issue. But let me know down in the comments below what you think about 3 Keys if you've been reading it. I think the story's been okay. I think it's been okay. I think overall the art is what I was in this book for more so than anything. I think David Messina's art was very nice throughout the series. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I will talk about this next book, which is on Vault Comics, and this is Door to Door, Night by Night, issue number 3. Now, I've read these first 3 issues all together in the first place. The great people over at Vault Comics, I do keep in contact with them over on Twitter, and they occasionally send some of these out. I read the first 3 several months ago. I did reread this issue, as well as, the past couple when they came out as well. I like Vault Comics, what they do. I kind of know what to expect, the quality of the books, whether that's the paper they're printed on and the quality of the inks, the storytelling, the art inside. I typically know what to expect, and I think if you've been reading long enough, you kind of know what to expect from Vault Comics. I think this series has been very good, where we're kind of following these door-to-door salesmen. They're not exactly salesmen, as they have been going out and doing their job, but along the way they've kind of found some people that have needed some help. There's these monsters that are kind of taking over people here, and it continues in this issue number 3. Very good. I'm just kind of curious to see where this is going. Again, this is another book by Colin Bunn, with art by Sally Cantorino, and I really do like Sally Cantorino's art as well. Just the art itself is pretty good, but then there's times where I've seen some of Cantorino's art in other books where it's very expressive, and really the art itself is doing some of that storytelling and giving you some of the feeling of things that are going on. And it kind of feels the same in this book. It's very good stuff. Again, you kind of know what to expect from Vault Comics if you have read any of their stuff. Let me know down in the comments below if you have read Door to Door, Night by Night, and what you think about it. And that brings me to this last book that I have to talk about this week. This is definitely my read of the week. This is coming to us from the great people over at Merc Publishing. You guys know, if you've been watching here on the channel, I've talked about these guys numerous times. Merc Publishing, it seems like I'm talking about them nearly every week. This week we've got Deathrage issue number 6, the series finale right here. And we've got 2 different colors. This first one, the main one by Jeffrey Edwards and Ezekiel Dominguez, and the second one by Emiliano Urdinola and Ezekiel Dominguez. Very good stuff, and I believe Emiliano is the main artist here on the series, if I am not mistaken. He is. This series right here, as I said, I've been following Deathrage pretty much since they launched this series and this publishing company a couple of years ago. Deathrage was the first title that they put out. Now, the character itself, Deathrage, seems very derivative of another Merc with a mouth that you may know out there, but I think they do enough throughout this series to really set him apart from that character, and I've really enjoyed this story. This art in this book is very good, and again, the story is something where they're kind of starting their own whole shared universe in Merc Publishing between Deathrage, Miss Meow, and Born of Blood, all set in different times and different stories that all kind of intertwine, and we see that here in Deathrage. And this series finale, I didn't really think I was going to enjoy seeing this come to an end. I didn't know that there would be an ending to this that I would feel satisfied, but by the time I got to the end of this book, I am very satisfied, and I really do like this series and what's going on with this book. And again, I have enjoyed all of the stuff that they have been doing over at Merc Publishing here over these past couple of years. And this one, again, I think this last issue felt like it didn't feel like a typical end of an arc or end of a series kind of book. There was a lot of information in here, as well as the wrap up to the story, and I thought it was done very, very good. I know over these 2 years they have actually brought on some extra writers to help them edit the stories and help flesh a little bit of the storytelling out a little bit. They've done that with Aaron Sparrow and Joe Corallo, who they have brought in to help guide the stories, and the people who are writing this, the people behind them, and I think they've been doing a very good job. Definitely worth checking out. I can't say enough good things about what they've been doing over at Merc Publishing over these past couple years. It's not for everybody, but no comic book is, but I think it's definitely worth checking out. Definitely a new company worth supporting. They are doing something with these books that I think is something that we need more of in comics, and that is getting some good stories, some great art, and having a world and building that out. There's not enough of that out there. We've got a bunch of characters from like DC and Marvel that are very good, that have been around for years, but I still feel like there's still more of that we need in the comic book industry, as we have seen where DC and Marvel, I mean, they're not terrible, but they've kind of gotten a little bit lax. You get a little bit comfortable when you're the big fish out there, and you need some competition. And I think there are people out there, other creators, other publishers, who are slowly doing things to ramp that up. And I think what I've seen coming out of Merc Publishing, they're doing a very good job in introducing and slowly expanding out a world. I think they've done the same thing over at AWA Upshot as well. Again, that's something we need. You know, we need that long, ongoing soap opera of these characters. The same thing that got us into those very characters that we have loved for years and grew up with since we were kids, or maybe you just recently got into because of movies or anything else. But that's just if you ask me. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Let me know what's in your comic book pull list this week. What was your read of the week? What do you think of mine? Did you read Deathrage? What did you think about it? I want to know all your thoughts down in the comments below. But that's all I've got for this video today, folks. Thank you all so much for being here on the 2nd Street Marvel. If you're not already, please make sure you subscribe, click the little bell and all of that good stuff. Don't act like you don't know how to do this. Give it a thumbs up, share it out with your friends, leave some comments down in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.